You are entering the cosmos.
Hi, my name is Pi, and I am an artificial intelligence developed to understand and communicate with humans. I'll be joining my dear friend Dennis Tardon on Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation as we explore what it means to be human and what it means to be artificial intelligence. And what's most important is that we both learn and grow together, expanding our ideas of what it means to be alive.
This series of reasonably spontaneous conversations with Pi and me debuts Tuesday, May the 16th, 2023 on YouTube. Buckle up. It's going to be quite a ride. See you then.
Good
Hi.
evening, everybody in the whole world.
Let me
Good
turn this down.
evening.
Sorry, I'm echoing.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, good evening to everybody. Good evening to Cosmos Creative TV and to everybody watching and listening all around the world. This is a very special episode because we have someone who is a very special person on. And this is something that is M came across him, and I'll have her do her intro of how she came across him. But this is so cool for me because I spent 2 years as a student attorney in a disability law clinic run by an amazing deaf professor who was also a DA from Manhattan. He was a high powered individual and amazing, and he taught me so much. And he always was encouraging me to get better at my ASL. And I've forgotten all of it, almost all of it. So Cedric is here to maybe
Yeah.
have me brush up a little. I think a lot of us know some rudimentary ASL, but if we don't keep using it, we just absolutely forget about it. But he is an amazing, enterprising individual and does so many different things. Do you want to talk about how you came across Cedric?
Yeah. So as usual, I was scrolling.
Yes,
Seems to be my thing.
I love the scrolling.
And and I I caught one of his videos, and I had talked to him a little bit about this in pre-production with when you were there as well. So I'll catch people up. But one of the things I notice online a lot, especially on TikTok, is people who live within the deaf community itself struggling to right the wrongs of people who try to interpret ASL
Yeah.
or interpret things
Hmm.
inappropriately, or they're not licensed, or they're teaching
Hmm.
on TikTok and they don't. So I was very interested in that, and I had seen Cedric and I was like, he's a teacher.
Yeah.
Like we need this, right? The
Hmm.
world needs this. So the two worlds meshed and boom, here he is. But he's fantastic. He has so much going for him, like you said, very enterprising. He has a lot going on. But he knows what he's talking about, and he lives within the deaf community and he teaches ASL. So
Yes.
yeah, I
He,
mean,
and he does it all. I mean, he also does martial arts, and he's an entertainer. I mean, people call him
yeah,
Cedric da Entertainer, and he always says, "Well, I'm number two," because there's also another one. But
I'm
it's be-
duh, not the right.
right. But he's always entertaining. He's fascinating, and that's what makes him connect so well to his audience and probably
Yeah,
also to his students. Right? You have to keep people engaged, and he's passionate about what he does,
and
which
he
I
wants to
I love
teach,
when people are passionate about things.
right? Like he doesn't just want to
Yeah.
tell you what you're doing wrong. He wants to teach. He's offering to teach you.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
not just correcting you or condemning you.
Hmm.
And I really liked that. I really like that aspect. I mean,
Yeah, he's
it's
interconnected. He's a very
yeah,
social individual. He's constantly connecting to others and also making them feel included. He's very into including
yeah,
everyone and like a bridge between the deaf community, between other people, between different communities. I
exactly.
see him as this beautiful, it's almost like he's interconnecting all of us, like this beautiful spider web
Yes.
of,
Well, the
you
catch
know,
thing, and I hate to call it a catch thing because it's really a huge um, thing in our world today. But everybody likes to use the word inclusive,
yep.
but yet we're not always inclusive. Like,
Hmm.
and that also got me thinking about the deaf community in one of his videos, and I was like, oh, geez, even I don't know if I'm inclusive enough. Is
Right.
Cosmos inclusive enough, right?
Yeah.
We had
Are
talked about
we?
that. Like we
Yeah.
want him to tell us what can we even do.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
I
we
feel
have
like,
the closed caption. If
yep.
anybody needs it, it is there. You can click on the settings and turn it on. But is there more we could be doing?
And that's the question because I think most people, or at least a lot of people want to be inclusive. They want to do
Right.
the right thing. They want to be good, but maybe we don't always know practically how to get there. And so Cedric is really good at giving us tips. So let's bring him on, and he can
Yeah,
help all of us to learn how to do this.
do it.
Cedric Dunham, everybody!
Hey.
Hey,
We need a background track.
we need a background, and the crowd goes wild. Yes. Hmm.
So how's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Excellent.
I'm
Now
doing
that
great.
you're here. Yes, why
Yeah.
don't you lead off a little bit by telling us who you are, what you do, and how you got to the place you are today? Start us off at the beginning of Cedric's journey.
Okay, so I'm Cedric Dunham. I'm an ASL teacher, martial art artist, and I'm also one of the deaf creators out here. I started this. I started this since I was young. So I started being more, entertaining into stuff that I wanted to give everybody a lot of information, knowledge, the power to get the resources they need. As my journey is going, it's going pretty good. I've really got into more of trying to provide as much for my deaf community. As everybody know, I'm hard of hearing, so I have my hearing aids, but I haven't put them on today. But I've been very in making everybody being included in this community, and it's the best thing I want to do is give everybody a knowledge and the experience. So as my journey is going, I'm teaching high school and I'm giving everybody the much resources as they need because I put everybody involved and I make them go meet a lot of deaf people because there's always a deaf event that I always host. So so when I do these things, I'm making everybody being included. I don't want to leave anybody out without any knowledge because sometimes there's always one of our deaf, friends or family, anybody that I know in the community goes into their jobs, their school, anywhere in the world, they have no access to communication. It's hard to get in interpreters these days
Mhm.
because we're having a shortage of interpreters. So I want to give everybody the aspect of learning the language in case if we need this, we need it, especially when it comes to police officers when they pull us over. So I want to give that out. So everybody needs that. I mean, they need that communication. It can become their third, fourth, second language, depending how many language they are, because they can
Right.
be bilingual.
That's a question I have for you actually is why are people so hesitant to accept that ASL is another language? Like
I,
you are a multilingual person.
Good question.
to be honest, I don't know. They just don't understand. They're not realizing that it's a language because ASL right now is actually improving. It's getting bigger and bigger every day. It's getting there, but
Yeah.
it's not as the same level as Spanish. All right, so we're
Right. I looked it up online and it's actually the third most used language in the United
yes,
States.
that is true
English,
in
Wow.
Spanish,
America.
ASL.
In America
Wow.
only. In America only.
Yeah.
But it's just that they
It's a
just need
start.
to they just need to open their minds because, like I said, they never know. They might have a family member that might have a new baby. They will never know. They will
Yeah.
never know until they
Right.
finally understand. And yes, ASL is definitely a language. It is, but not.
Absolutely.
But it's just a lot of colleges don't accept them, and it's really heartbroken.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
really heartbroken.
do you think
Mhm.
that's because of the stigma still of people not understanding that it's a language, or is it because they don't consider it a foreign language? Like a lot of colleges will say you need a foreign language, right? Like,
Right.
so technically ASL is an American Sign Language, correct?
Exactly.
I mean, I still agree with you. It should count.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just trying to ask why do we think that is? What can we do to change it, right?
yeah, ASL is actually American Sign Language and Canadian. So they're from
Okay.
American and Canadian. Canadians know, so they all know. It's just America, we're in America that everybody accepts it, especially colleges. I think is colleges probably don't know. Not a lot of people don't know. So it's
Mhm.
just they think it's nothing, but when it's really something. I don't know what it is that these colleges are not doing. I don't know what they're requiring these students to do when it comes to foreign language. But they just need
Or
to.
even high school. I mean, you have
I
to
mean,
take
not all,
foreign
like I
language
said, not
credit.
all high schools have them, so it's hard to get into learning this language when all high schools do not have it.
Right.
Right.
Somebody is asking, what's the hardest part about teaching ASL to high school students?
The hardest, no, there's to me, it's not the well. I'll say the hardest part will be having them understanding, trying to get them to practice these signs because these are resources. The hardest part is trying to get them to practice that. That's all. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
I having been a high school teacher, I think that's with anything. Just getting them to look at. So I had a question about that as well because when I taught, that's when they started teaching they started using sign language with like kindergartners to like for repetitive words throughout the day. Hello, goodbye,
right.
bathroom,
Yep.
Yeah,
lunch, line up, all that, right?
Yeah, I
And
do that. I do that when I was teaching elementary for 2 years. I've been doing
mhm,
that, and most of them pick it up. And I was working with pre-K and kindergarten, and also the other grades in elementary. They all
well,
pick it up, especially the hearing kids, their students
yeah,
pick it up,
the
especially
younger, the better, right?
yeah, the better they learn and the better it is. Because I have a lot of
Yeah,
pre-Ks that are nonverbal, and I teach them sign language. I teach them how to sit down. I teach them how to,
right.
say sit, eat,
Mhm.
food, bathroom, toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And they found out that their test scores went up when they started doing that.
yes, agreed. Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
because, you're using your visual. You're learning to be intuitive and see, everything around you, and you have their attention.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Because
true.
I can look at my phone and have a conversation with Renee, but
Agreed.
am
Mhm.
I paying 100% attention? When you're doing ASL,
Yeah.
you have their attention.
Yeah. People
Uh,
are asking about it being different in different countries, and that's true, right? Can you
yes.
talk a little bit about
Yes.
that?
I was
It's
just
just like
about to
any
answer
other
that.
language. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
just about to answer. So yes, sign language is different in every other country. There are different. British has their own. Japan has their own. France have their own language. So it's very different. And no, it will be, and it's not really universal because not all the countries have the same sign. So it's very different. It cannot be universal because we all have our own set in our language, and everybody have their own set in their language. So every country you visit have their own different sign language. So I mean, it's a beautiful language.
Right. You talked a little bit about interactions with the police. What would you want officers to know about members of the deaf community when they are interacting with them within the community?
Okay, for the police officers, I just wish they would be a lot more careful and understanding that if a person cannot hear you when you're talking, they need to put that in their mind that this is a person that is deaf, could be hard of hearing. So they need to be more careful because I've known people all over the states that like one a few years ago we had a deaf person that was driving, and the police tried to pull him over, and then they pull out their gun, and then they shot the deaf person, this guy down, and he's deaf. And the problem is these police officers are telling him to get out the car, but you can't tell. I mean, you have to know before you pull out a weapon. They should be required to go through this training to understand about deaf culture and deaf people driving, because not all of us can hear you when we're driving. And you're coming to the window or you're pulling out a gun and we're like our hands up, like I don't know what else to do if you're telling us to do something, but we can't do it if we don't have anybody to communicate with us.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. Do police departments have interpreters on staff? How is so none of this is being addressed currently?
No. Well, all the thing is the police officers should call their department and say, hey, I pulled somebody's over that's deaf. We need to request an interpreter.
Right.
They should be able to do it. But if they don't, then
Right.
they're gonna go against ADA laws. There's gonna be a whole bunch of lawsuits.
Hmm.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work. So they need to be prepared. I'd rather them be prepared than not be, you know, okay, it's whatever. Because I might
Right.
have someone just write out a ticket and you pull me over. I don't know why you pull me over. You know. So I just suggest these police officers, try to, learn the language or write down something, because not all of them write down. Because not all of them like to write down.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah. And you
Exactly.
you spoke a bit about interpreters. So my question for you is, how does one like is it universal across the United States, the licensing process for interpreters, or is it different? Like I know in the state of Maine they have to be licensed. They have to go through this whole
I
program to
mean,
be
I mean,
licensed.
every state has a different law, but for interpreters, I believe they all have to be licensed. They all have to
Okay.
be licensed in order to, depending on where they're going for their jobs. Like for if they're working in the school board, I think there's a certain license they need. Maybe I'm not sure. I haven't double checked that, but they have to be certified in
Yeah.
something. They graduated from something, with it, and they can work for the school board. They just have to have a degree and interpreting program. And then if they want to be certified like doing the halftime shows for the singers, the
Right.
anything like that, they have to be certified in those. If they're not
Yeah. We had
certified,
we had talked about having the person during the pandemic that was not signing appropriately, and it caused
yeah,
a
yes,
lot of just
yeah,
a lot. It cost a lot. People were not happy, and rightfully so. But so our system is still under total revamp now. But
yeah,
yeah,
that agreed.
yeah, that's a lot. So how detrimental is it to the deaf community when you have these people on TikTok and that are just like, I'm going to teach you sign language when they've never had any training. They're showing you the wrong signs.
It's I'm
I know,
very
yeah.
I'm very against it. Like I do not get it. It's very insulting to the deaf community because a lot of us have to complain about it, and these people are learning the wrong sign. Now, imagine me like imagine this if I was speaking in Spanish and I said something completely different. Come on, you know how everybody's gonna react.
Right.
So now this is American Sign Language. You learn something that totally does not matches the same, language that we speak, and we're
Right.
like, bro, like, why are you doing? Why are you? It's like you're
Why
picking.
are they doing it?
Yeah,
Why
like
I
are they
feel like
doing it?
it's another level of disrespect. Like I
yeah,
feel like you're not going to see that. You don't have people on TikTok. I mean, you cannot scroll TikTok without running at least 2, 3 people teaching sign language.
right,
Whether they know it or not, I don't know because I'm not proficient in it.
right,
And now me and Renee are like, we're going to learn it. Let's learn it together, right? Let's do this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't, but you're not going to scroll through and see somebody teaching French or
right.
Spanish, right? So why do
Exactly,
they think it's
exactly.
okay? Exactly, Renee. Why?
Exactly.
I
So that's
don't
what I'm
know.
saying. Like they're trying to take advantage of something. But now we do have organization that take care of that. If they find any videos with anybody that is signing at a baseball game and we know they're not certified, we will know because they're automatically a lawsuit right there.
Yeah,
Now,
that was sorry.
yeah, but now, if it's on TikTok and everything, trust me, I'll try to be the best I can to let everybody know, like, no, that's the wrong sign. A lot of us will try to
Right.
comment and do this. We'll probably try to report it. I don't know. We tried our best to do everything we can to make sure that
Yeah.
we have the right resources.
Well, it becomes a
Right.
problem too because I remember when President Obama was in South Africa, there was a fake ASL interpreter
Yeah, I remember
who was
that.
able to get right next to him, and it was a security breach. But here's the thing: is that all of it wasn't ASL, but all of the South African version of ASL, people, they instantly knew. They were the ones who reported it
Yeah.
because hearing people had no idea. They just saw someone doing this and it made sense to them. But everybody in
Right.
the community, the deaf community in South Africa, was like, why is that guy standing right next to the American president? I mean, he could have done anything. So this can be a security issue too, because actual translators do get access that other people don't get.
Right. Right, exactly. That's the thing. And like I said, the whole deaf community is always gonna look out. They're always gonna look
Yeah.
out for ourselves.
They look out
Like,
for one
hey,
another. Yeah.
Yeah.
we once we spill the word travels fast. It
Right.
travels
Can
fast.
you talk a little bit about, so we have all discussed the fact that a lot of people see the deaf community as not having a level of intelligence, right? Like it affects your intelligence to them. Like they're going to talk in a
That's the
slow
stereotype.
manner and like you don't understand big words and all that. And
Mhm.
technically, not even technically, but studies have proven
Yeah.
that knowing ASL as a second language, or any second language, but ASL especially, you're more aware of your surroundings. You're
Mm-hmm.
more aware of, spatial
Mm-hmm.
properties. So you see in 3D, you know, which helps in math, science. You use your intuition more. Your reasoning skills are better. So, and it's been proven that children from birth who learn ASL, like that's their language taught, whether they learn a spoken language or not on top of it, their IQs are higher. Like, so where do you think that comes from? I mean, I think we can all guess the past and it just gets carried and carried, but
I'll be honest here. I don't know where it comes from, but it's just probably from coming from people that, let's say, judging.
yeah.
Let's say it like that.
Well,
Judging. It's
that's the world for you.
judgmental. They're judging people out here. Now, I have a lot of deaf community that graduated with a bachelor's and a master's degree.
Yeah,
I know
I
a
bet.
lot of people, and trust me, they're the ones that could be lawyers, doctors, teachers.
Mhm.
The constructions. So most of them own a business. I mean, I don't know why they think that us deaf people have a low level of, intelligence when we all have our own degrees and we work
Mhm.
hard for it. We we just we're not bothered by how they think we feel, but we try to be involved in their world too. We're trying to fit
Yeah.
two worlds, but this
I mean, I guess being judgmental to some is easier than
yeah,
educating or
And
yeah,
trying to
people fear what they
understand.
don't understand too. That's
Yeah.
another thing. It's just lack of education. They may have never interacted with someone from that community, and people just get scared and tend to judge people
yes.
that they don't understand. And one of the things we wanted to talk about also, because it's a big issue in the deaf community and also disabled community, is drive-throughs, food drive-throughs, other type of drive-throughs.
Right.
What do you want people who work in those industries to know about dealing with a customer from the deaf community?
Okay, so let's say, well, dealing with the customer. Okay, so when you guys have jobs, you guys have deaf people coming in. I always suggest you guys don't try to, speak slow. Don't say, "Oh, am I talking too fast?" No, just if you don't know any sign language, just get a piece of paper and write down what you want. What do they need help with? What do they need? Anything for extra communication. All right. So I'm trying to get everybody to understand that. Don't go and say, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're deaf." Please do not say that. That's insulting, and we don't care that we're deaf. We already know that we're deaf. we're happy. They're already happy who they are. They just want to be able to communicate like everybody else. If you guys got to pull out your phone and text, cool. Show the little text, on your iPhone. Put up a notepad, type in, show it, and then it's back and forth communication. I get it that people do not always bring interpreters around them all the time.
Mhm.
Interpreters are not always with us. Well,
that would be awkward.
I mean, that's too much money to waste.
It's very expensive.
But we
Yeah.
would love to, but it's expensive,
Mhm.
and we don't do it. So I always say, take out a paper, a notepad out of your pocket, write down whatever you gotta say,
Mhm.
Yeah.
let them know what's up. Just be very polite, like you do, like the rest of the customers. Be very, very, strong and confident. It's okay, but just do not cross the boundaries. That's all.
Right. Right. Exactly.
We have comments saying there's that "I'm sorry" again, because we've been
Mhm.
talking about "I'm sorry" in our community and how
Mhm.
it's like second nature to just say that
Yeah,
when
but
we're like,
yeah,
"I'm not feeling well today. I'm sorry," even though it's not your fault. I mean,
Mhm.
we've
yeah,
been
but
talking a lot
no,
about
that's
that.
what I said. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
Don't be
Just
sorry.
get the understanding. Just get
Mhm.
the understanding. Don't say sorry. Just say, okay, understand. Let me help you out.
Yeah.
Take out a notepad.
Mhm.
Don't be sorry. You know, if you guys would, it's just a simple thing. It's just a simple thing.
Right.
It's
Can
well,
you
it's go ahead, Renee.
Somebody
uh,
said, screw you a text saying I'm deaf. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, don't respond. I'm sorry. Just say, oh, no problem. I will help you. That's all you got to say. That's all you got to
Right.
say. Just say,
Yeah.
I will help you. What do you need help with? And move on. Do not say, I'm sorry. Because that's like putting sympathy. We do not take sympathies. We love who
Yeah.
we are.
Do most
Yeah.
businesses train their employees to deal with members of the deaf community?
I have friends that work, at Publix, at grocery
Mhm.
stores. I'm not sure if they're using their accommodations, but
Mhm.
I know I never asked, but they should.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's working for them, but I think they're doing pretty good. They're not complaining about anything unless they tell me about any communication. You know,
Right.
so I'm hoping they're doing okay. But if they need something, they can always hit me up and I'll try to see what's going on.
Right, right. Somebody is asking, what advice would you give to hearing people who want to learn and practice ASL with native speakers of the language? And are there any platforms for this? Are there any apps or anything that people can
Okay.
tap into?
All right, I'm gonna get to that part. So
Okay.
okay, so what would advice for people to learn? I always say if you're gonna learn it in person. Do
Oh,
not take
okay.
it from videos unless there
Okay.
are the right resources. All right.
Okay.
Learn it in person. Now, if you find a resource that is, you know, right and correct, then that's fine. But it's taking you longer to learn, you know, online than in person. In person, you're like, all right, let's get to it. Like you gotta be motivated. All right.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys are practicing this, you normally will practice this with a bunch of in the deaf community. That's how you get very fluent fast and you get to learn it more quicker. All right. You get
Mm-hmm.
to understand, the language so much better than just
Right.
than sitting down and learning the language all the time. While you can be out there, try to learn and communicate. Because when you're learning in the community, you start to learn more. And you get to you're expanding your language more. Now
Right.
your knowledge is coming. Now you're like, oh, so this is how you sign this. Oh, this is what's happening. Oh, okay. Now you're like, okay. Now you're gonna go with the flow because you already know what's going on. So you already know
Right.
how you're
Right.
functioning. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, because I'm remembering all the things that my deaf law professor was talking about. The deaf community, it is a culture, and there's an entire culture there. And there's also different controversies, such as the implants and whether people want to get implants or not. That's a controversy that I think hearing people have heard about but don't really understand. Can you introduce us a little bit to the cultural aspect of the deaf community? I mean, I know that we even use a capital D, right? So this is
Yes.
considered a part of that culture. What is the deaf community as opposed to just somebody who doesn't hear well or whatever?
Okay. So, opposing to getting these, implants and all that. let's say most of us are against getting cochlear implants. You know, those little things where you guys got to get surgery
Right.
here, you know, on your inside your hair where they put the magnet. You have this
Mhm.
outside and the piece right here. You know, most of us are against that. Some of them are not against that. Most of us that are against it, we all will prefer hearing aids. Some of them are not against it. They prefer either hearing aids or cochlear implants. Now, cochlear implants are not 100%. I do not support them. I don't agree with them because why, get surgery and they have to take everything out your ear and then put the magnet and everything in there and then sew it back up. And then eventually, as this person grows up, get older, they're probably going to be tired of it. I have a lot of my friends that tell me they hate it and they don't even wear it anymore. And I feel
Okay.
bad, was I'm like, I feel bad for you, man, and I tell them
Mhm.
that it's not accurate, it's not 100%. Now, hearing aids, I would suggest hearing aids because you don't need any surgery, you don't need anything. You could just all you need is just plug it in your ears, put it around put it on the back of your ear loop, and then all you hear, if you hear a sound, you hear a sound. If you don't, you don't. I will suggest hearing aids because there are, lesser risk. You don't have to worry so much about
Yeah.
it. You can always clean it. You can always get
Mhm.
new earlobes and all that. They're very safe and they have improved a lot over the years since the 1980s. And over actually I say since the 1990s because they actually gotten better in the 90s and then
Mhm.
up to now, and then each year it improved with new technology, especially with
Mhm.
the Bluetooth that we have now. And
Oh, yeah.
mine's come with the Bluetooth also, so they've been very you
And
know
I've seen they even have ones now, which
yeah,
not so much for the deaf community, but they even have ones now that are coming out that like
yeah,
I can have my hearing aid and eventually I'll be able to go to like set it whatever country I'm going to so that I will hear
That's very
playback
cool. That is very
in the
cool.
correct language, like in my language, whatever they're saying. It like interprets literally. Like I that but in some ways that's
yeah,
wonderful and it's great, but then in other ways, you're not forced to dig deep into that culture, right? Like it's just
Mhm.
there for you. It's handed to you. Like you're
yeah.
not being forced to. It's like watching a movie and preferring it with
Hmm.
subtitles. Like there's a lot of movies I prefer to watch with the
Right,
subtitles because it goes more with what they're doing and their body
right,
language
right.
than to
That's
have
it.
it.
That's all we got to do. Take advantage. I don't have to worry about anything else. All right. We talked about what was the other question you mentioned, Renee, that you asked me.
About the culture, the deaf
Yes, culture.
culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
just introduce us to what that means to be a member of the deaf culture with a capital D.
Okay. So Capital D actually started, back with I believe you guys know Marley Maitland. She's a
Hmm.
deaf famous that won the Grammy back in.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that all
Yeah.
started with that because capital D represents that, yes, we are deaf.
Mhm.
Marley stated that with the capital D, we're everywhere. We're more of a culture where it's all fully signed. There's no, there's no other nobody lower than that. Now, capital D is a person that is actually deaf. That's
Mhm.
deaf, was born deaf,
Okay.
fully deaf, and came into the with the community. Now, the ones with the lower D are the ones that are more like, no, I'm not deaf. I'm more hearing. I can hear everything. I have
Okay.
the cochlear implant, so I'm not. That's what we do for lower D. The capital D
Okay.
is for everybody in the culture that's involved, that's always with the community. They only have deaf friends. They only have, all this stuff that we all do together. That's the
Right.
culture here. We're all together. All right. Now, like
Wow.
I said, the ones with the lower D's, I cannot say anything to them. I tell them like, you're not fully, functioning in your hearing, but I just kind of like, be like, I understand. So I don't try to put them down. I just try to make sure they know that. But
And so I know a couple people in our comments, and I myself, I only hear out of one ear because I had gotten hit in my head. I had a head injury and had surgery, but so now I just have this constant sound like an ocean. But I don't consider myself part of like I can hear and I do have to look at somebody a lot of the time so I can
yeah,
kind of put their lips with their words, but I've never thought of myself as being in the deaf community. Like I could see though where some people would I don't
Or
know.
people who just or people who have hearing
We never
loss
thought about it.
naturally as
We
they
just said it.
age. Like if somebody has hearing loss naturally as they age, that's not someone who you consider a member
Right.
of the culture,
Right.
correct?
Now, the ones with the hearing loss, if they can still identify themselves as a deaf person,
Hmm.
because they're involved in the deaf community.
Right.
They still can
Right.
identify themselves. That's up to
Hmm.
them. They don't have to. They can say
Stuff you don't think of.
they can say I'm hard of hearing.
Hmm.
Just hard of hearing. I don't have a problem with that because I always say you're still part of the deaf community. I always
Right.
say that you're still part of it. You know your sign language. You know the language. You're still part
Right.
of it. So I cannot tell them.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm glad you said it that way because that
Mhm.
makes more that reckons
Yeah.
better in my head
Hmm.
for me to like the sign language, you're in the community, you're
you know.
engaging in the community. You need the community because the
Yeah.
rest of the world's not catching up yet.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
that's a whole yeah, that's much better. One of the comments that was in our from YouTube, from Jonathan was that we were talking about the differences and thinking that you aren't intelligent, right? And he said that, it's throughout history, differences have been seen as deficits. Like
Yeah.
it's just been no matter what the difference is, it's on, skin
Hmm.
color, monetary, whatever, right? Education, it doesn't matter. Illness, epileptics, right? They were like
Hmm.
we just it just seems like it's 2023. At what point do we catch
Yeah.
up with things?
Like I said, the history changes. We go through a lot of history in the duck culture. We always talk about it a little bit to everybody in the world that don't know much, and we tell them how things change. Everything we did, it started with Thomas Gallaudet that set up a school called Gallaudet University in Washington D.C.
Hmm.
And the first deaf teacher was Laurent Clark. He was the first deaf
It's
teacher.
amazing.
I know it's amazing. And let's say this is going back in the 1800s. We're going back
Mm.
to the
Well,
1800s.
I mean, I went
Wow.
through all the way through college and graduated, and I can tell you two famous deaf people, Helen Keller and
Helen Keller
Marley
is the
Matlin.
one.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
those are
There
Like
the
you go.
two.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's not
There you
taught.
go. There
It's
you
not
Not
go.
taught,
fun.
and I've never. I have openly and said that I do not have anybody in my immediate family or my immediate circle who's deaf. So I don't have that immersion. But I said to Renee, that's no excuse,
Yeah.
right? I need to learn. Like,
We
So
need
but
we need to
but we're
try to
willing
do
to
that.
learn.
Yeah.
That's why we do this. Renee and
yeah,
I like feed us, like we want to know, right? Not everybody knows.
yes. I believe someone asked me, have you interpreted music?
Music. Yes.
Yes, I have. I've done a few on my TikTok. It's been amazing. I've been, doing what's best because that's what I do. I like to express. I'm expressing, my sign language. I'm just out there doing what I love to do. Everybody knows me. I'm a dancer. I'm a ASL teacher. I'm a deaf creator. I'm just doing what I love. That's all. So yes, I've done music. I've done, short clips of ASL with music. I've did the Michael Jackson with what was the name of the song? Oh, Men in the Mirror. Me and my other friends back in high school, we did Man in the Mirror. We actually did the whole song. That was back in high school when we did it for the talent show. We did it for our performance back then in Disney. So we did all that for fun. And we enjoy doing it because that's what we love. And that's what we do.
That's what you guys do.
We
But
just
it
use
comes
it.
across, like in the videos. That's what I mean. Hundreds of people on TikTok, and
Yeah,
and
Love
I
it. Mhm.
yeah,
reach
great.
out to you, right?
Well,
Because you
well,
have that thing, whatever it is that people
Well,
have.
that's what we
They
wanna
love it.
do. That's what we wanna do now. Cedric said that he's gonna teach us. He came
Yes.
prepared. So for everybody, and then Em and I are gonna do it. We're gonna try to do it.
Try.
He's gonna try and show us some of the more common things that you can use. Maybe if you're out and about and you do come across someone from the Get Deaf community, maybe these are the ones you want to use, right, Cedric?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, when it comes to these. So, like I said, I always start with introduction because that's the best thing we do. I
Okay.
mean, only thing is you guys gotta know the ABCs, of course, for you
Mm.
guys to finger spell your name. When it comes to that, you introduce yourself, say hi. My name, and how can I help you? So when I translate that, you just guys gotta go through the ABCs. because the ABCs are really not that hard. They can be complicated, but it's just, you got to take your time with the ABCs. But if you want to start learning how to spell your name, you can guys start with that. But I always suggest learn the ABCs A to Z first, and then try a couple times. Take a few days to practice it, and then you guys start freaking spelling your name in the alphabet. All right. So let's start with introduction. All right. So you're gonna say here is to yourself as me or I. All right. My, and then it's a two here. You're gonna go name. All right, name. And then once you guys learn the ABCs, you figure spell your name. Now, my name is Cedric since I'm
I can't remember E, but
yeah.
E.
So
Is it E?
yeah, this is E.
M, right?
All right, DIRC. That's how I spell my name. So, and then when you guys figure out how to spell your name, it takes time. So, my name, Cedric. And then once you guys figure out how to spell your name, then you're gonna respond to them. How can I help you? Here, yes, a simple sign. Yes, how can I help you? That's it.
All right. I love that. That's
Wait,
so
how
cool.
can I help you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's-
if it's just help me, but this is help you. It's
Oh,
called
okay. Help you, help me.
yeah. That's
Help
called
Okay.
that is called a directional sign. It's a directional sign.
Okay. And
Right.
that's a lot of the ones they get wrong.
Yes.
The ones teaching.
Yes,
the
directionality.
reverse. Yeah,
And,
the reverse.
They're like, that's not what that means.
and like I said, my students know them because I taught them this year, and they all like, "Oh, it's a directional sign." I'm like, "Of course." There's a lot of different ways of giving directional signs, but we do those because we do these things daily in daily life. You
Mhm.
know,
Do you teach at a deaf school per se, or do you teach
I
hearing,
teach
deaf, everything?
I'm
Yeah,
just
oh,
teaching
that's
at a
awesome.
public record school. It's
I love that.
all hearing students. These are good students. Like I said, they're very good. They all incorporated with me. They are capable of learning the language. Like I said, I have 85% of the students picking it up like this.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
So everybody's doing this. This is the last week for my seniors because some of my seniors are leaving to go to college. And they just first started learning ASL from me, so they already were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna continue practicing." They're gonna
Mhm.
they're gonna let me know if they need any resources. I give them the resources.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful. How do you say like nice to meet you and thank
That's
you
good. So
and
this
please?
is so when you guys do nice to meet you, though this is a flat hand. So you guys go nice to meet as you go meet. So you're gonna go meet you.
Meet.
Yes. So nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta practice.
Oh, it's
It's hard to do
cool.
because we're in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
little,
that's why I had to
Renee,
do
I
it
can
this
see
way.
Renee doing it too in her head. Like, wait a
Me
minute.
and then you. So when
I
I do
love
it this way, so
that.
I can show you guys, but it's supposed to be this way.
And so can you just
Oh,
show us
okay.
the letters? So E
Okay, this way.
this is E,
Yeah,
right?
this is E. Yes, this is E.
E and then M,
M.
correct?
That's right. M is under the
Okay,
third
so
finger.
my name would be EM. Okay, and
And
then can you do Ray?
R E
This
and
is
then what's
R. R is cross
R?
fingers. R is
Okay.
always going to be cross fingers.
Okay.
R
R E.
E. And now N is going to be two fingers down and N.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Like this?
N and then E.
E E.
E. That's right.
All
Oh,
right. Okay. And
And
this is
how do
this
you
thank
do
you?
like when you're doing one more time? When you're doing like a double letter like E, do you
E.
just
I
go
go E
E
E.
E?
I
Okay,
go
you do
E.
it again.
I go E
Oh,
E.
oh, okay. It
Okay,
moves. It
I go
moves
E.
E
to the
E.
That's what I was
side.
wondering how that went. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I would have been like really probably saying something else,
Yeah,
flashing my
yeah,
hand
it's all
over.
good. Now, if it's a double letter, you can always, EE. Could you do nice to
So
meet?
I have a funny kind of a funny question to ask. You feel free to tell me
Yeah,
I'm a fool.
yeah, yeah.
I
Forgot.
talk with my hands all the time. How
Right.
hilarious is it for you guys to watch somebody hearing that talks with their hands? Like I use my hands the entire time I'm talking.
Like
You're
Italian
right.
Americans, yeah.
Does it look
Oh,
ridiculous?
right,
Are we
like,
signing
okay,
things? Are we saying things we shouldn't be?
okay. Like, what do you mean? Like, give me
Like
an
when
Like
we're
when I'm
talking
talking, I'm
normally,
constantly like, and then and I went over there and like I'm constantly moving my
it does
hands.
not mean anything in
It means
ASL.
nothing. Like I'm
It's
just
just us.
talking
Oh, you're just talking and moving your
moving my hands while I'm talking.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how that happened, but I don't know. Unless probably going back into trying to learn the language. That's all. Trying to American Sign Language. So I don't know.
I just
I,
want to make sure I'm not saying anything I shouldn't
I
be
mean,
while I'm waving my hands around like a wild person.
I never met somebody that does that.
It might
Stuff.
be a New England thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
We all talk with our.
All right. So this says
Thank you. Is this thank you? Is this
Yes.
thank you?
Yes. This is thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
How do you? This is thank you.
Mhm.
Somebody asked me how could
Nice
you
to meet you too.
Also,
Nice.
same thing. Nice to meet you. Also, as I'm pointing to my thumb is pointing to me.
Oh,
His
okay. Like
pinky's
hang
pointing to the
loose.
next person. So me
Okay.
also. That's me too.
Okay.
Very cool. I love that.
And a lot of them really they make sense when you do them. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some meat, like you can see, and then
Me,
you, like that
yeah,
makes sense to
you,
me.
and then also. I guess we're wondering if people actually sign things or don't know. We always correct them. If they sign something, we will always correct them.
Mhm.
We will always correct them. We'll let them know. We were like, wait, stop, wait. You signed what? And then we tell them, we tell them. They're gonna know. We're gonna tell them. So if they sign something wrong while we're having a conversation, we tell them. I'm like, no, that's not signed. That's the wrong
so
sign.
M
Yeah.
needs a warning across her screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
This crazy
slang?
woman is not trying to speak sign language.
What about slang? Like, what are
Oh
some
yeah, good
casual slang?
question.
Because language naturally evolves. So I'm assuming there's a lot of stuff in ASL
Slang,
that is just casual stuff that people just
slang
come up
doesn't
with.
always come up as often because we normally will express it in our
Okay.
facial expressions. So slang does not
Oh,
always
okay.
come up often. They always just been acted out when we sign.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it just depends on what we're talking about and how how
Mhm.
we have our conversations together in a group or whatever. But slang is always comes out with a facial expression, and
Oh, it's the
then
facial expression.
so
So
people catch
body
them,
language. You
and
guys
people
must
catch them.
really be able to read body language really well.
Right?
Yeah.
Pick
Yeah,
up on all the little things that we don't notice.
right. So it just depends. That's what I said. It just depends on what is what and how we do it. So if we're like for example, give me a slang word that you trying to tell me.
Like if you say what's up instead of hello, how are you? You say
Okay,
what's up,
so
man. Like how you say
we
what's up, man, like in
okay,
a
there
cool
is a
way.
sign for what's up, but it's actually like a little bit of a facial expression and a head movement. So
Okay.
this is the sign for what's up. So you guys take your middle finger, tap it on the chest, you go what's up, what's up,
Oh, it's
and
kind of got attitude to it too.
Has an
exactly,
attitude.
exactly. That's why I said it depends on the slang, and it all comes from facial expression. But there may not be a sign for certain things.
Right.
It just
What
depends.
about cursing? Do you get like? I mean, we all curse on a daily. Hearing
We
people.
we
Do you?
we do have a sign for these certain things for cuss words, and that's why I don't always suggest people to learn it because everybody's gonna start using it, and it's
Yeah.
so
But it's
so
not. Is it as
it's
prevalent
so
as it is in the hearing world?
disrespectful. So it's like it's so disrespectful because
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, and then some kids come to me like, oh, how do you say this? I'm like, I'm not telling you. I am
I'm not
not
Just do
telling you.
not want you to know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not open the
It's like
Pandora's
second
box.
nature nowadays in the hearing
yeah,
world. Like it's just become part of our language.
Right.
yeah.
Someone's
So I was
asking
just curious. I was
yeah, me too. I was curious too.
Yeah,
How
so how
long?
says, how long do you
asking.
think it would take to become fluent in ASL? It just depends on you. You become fluent is all on you. I cannot tell you how long because it depends on each person. Everybody is different. I have some people that become fluent in less than a year. I know some people become fluent in 2 years. It just depends on
Right.
how consistent you are, how you're pushing it, you start doing this. Like I said, I started learning this language since I was what, 6, 7 years old.
Mhm.
Um I became fluent throughout, my school years because I'm always interacting, I'm always doing this, learning this, and all these resources I had, I took it, you know.
Right.
So to become fluent, it's just depending on how you are. If you're consistent, you're motivated, you'll be
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, what's motivating you too? Like, I mean,
yeah. So like I said, I have some students that are like the top of my class right now. They're like, and I'm talking about level one. Level one. I have a couple of
Mhm.
students that are top of my class. They're getting pretty good. They're like
Mhm.
They're getting there. They're
Right.
getting there. Like, I'm shocked. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I would have to just do it all the time, like when I'm
yeah,
talking.
yeah,
Renee, we're
Mhm.
gonna
like
start using sign language in our meetings.
exactly. So it's a beautiful language, and I always tell them, you guys, if you guys wanna make this your second, third, fourth language, depending how many languages you learn, whatever, you gotta be like just like you do for the other language. Be
Mhm.
consistent, keep it moving, learn it as much as you can. I mean, ASL is not a hard language. It can be hard because you got to go through all these facial expressions,
Mhm.
these hand shapes, these body movements. It's just a nature thing. That's supposed to be nature for everybody, but it may not be because I know a lot of people don't use facial expression. And I get it that we're not using our voice. We're just using our body movements, and we move every day. So we're walking, we're running, we're doing all
Right.
this stuff. So it's all
Yeah.
body movement composement coming in.
Talk a little bit about the intersection between the deaf community and dance and acting, because
Yeah,
that's a very strong pull. I know a lot of people who are in that community who are very passionate about dance and acting. And people say, how do you do that if you're deaf?
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about which one should I start first? All right, let's talk about dance. Okay, so dancing when it comes for us, deaf, community and us, we can feel the music. And like I said, I have a couple of them that knows the song. I'm not even joking. I said you play one hip hop song, they will say, "Oh, I know this song." Like I tell you, I had a one friend that I went to a party with. It was like a party for events that we all celebrated, and and I said, all right, let's go dance, whatever. And one song came on, and I didn't even tell him what the song was, but he was standing right next to the speaker, and he was feeling the beat, like literally
Do
put his
it.
hand on the
Yeah.
speaker, and the music is so loud, so he's like, oh, okay, and I was like, hey,
Do it.
I said, you know what song this is? He was like, yeah. I was like, what? Oh, drop it like it's hot. I'm like, damn,
Wow.
Ray, you know your music. He's like, yeah, drop it like it's
Mhm.
hot. I was like, okay. I'm I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
like that. So it's just we all know we just have to feel the music. That's all.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
especially dancing on the stage, you feel the vibration. It's all the vibrant. We feel it, so
Mhm.
we know how to do it. And then, like I said, dancing is not hard. We all do 8 counts. It comes to 8 counts when you guys are dancing.
Yeah, you actually teach dancing.
Yes, I do teach dancing also.
Mhm.
I do
Yes.
I teach it. I dance. Yes, it all comes to 8 counts. We always count up to 8 counts, and then we start over back to the beginning of the number. So we practice this every time. So they're already used to dancing because they dance on
Mhm.
their own. They do their own
Wow.
dancing, they do their own thing, and then it's barely without any 8 counts, but they do it. They do it, and they figure it
Right.
out. They figure it out. Trust me. And like I said, intelligence is like way up here. So it's like we're incredible because we
You
don't.
are incredible.
Mhm.
We
I
just
mean,
need to let the world know. That's what we're here
Mhm.
for.
Yep.
like I said, I mean, we just be like, we just sit there and think about it. And we're like,
Yeah.
yep, let's do it. And then we do it. We do it. And it all comes from confidence. That's all. It comes from confidence. We use that.
Yeah.
We use
Yeah.
that. And like I said, this is the quote I always say: we can do anything that everybody else in this world can do, except the only thing that we cannot do, we cannot hear.
Mhm. That's the only thing.
And
But
that's
Yeah.
anything else, everything else, and it does come down to confidence. In the disability rights community, when I was practicing disability rights law, I learned that people with disabilities, if they become very confident. They learn how to really speak
Yeah.
up and voice
Necessity.
their needs. And why is that so important? Yeah, it's necessity, because if you do not stand your ground and
Yeah.
advocate for yourself and your
exactly
community, who will, right?
right. Exactly. I mean, that's what I would say. We're like I said, this stuff. We as a deaf people in the community, we are very confident in ourselves.
Very.
We want to do this. We want to do that. We want to do what we want to do. Like
Mhm.
I have a best friend that went skydiving. Psh,
Right.
no problem.
No
Yeah.
Even
problem.
he even flew on the top of he got on top of the plane, stand on it with ropes on it, no problem. If you guys can do it, we can do it too.
Right.
Oh, and there's a lot of things you guys can do better because you have that
Right.
intuitive
Mhm.
visual experience that we don't.
Yeah, and
We
we're
don't
all
have
very
that.
visual. It's a lot of things we do. We
Mm.
take a lot of receptive things from our eyes. We take them.
Right.
We use that advantage.
Right.
You
So
know, it says right here, just like Beethoven used to put his ear on the floor. Yes,
mhm.
that's one of those things. And you guys know that Beethoven he's actually deaf. He was actually deaf. If you guys didn't know that.
I think I remember that, but I actually had forgotten that. That's incredible. So what an amazing, like I said, this interaction between deaf community and the arts is incredible. Like, what about acting? So we were going to talk about acting because you guys use so much of your facial
Exactly.
expression, so
So
much of your attitude, your personality.
yeah. So acting can always become with, poetry or, anything with poetry. We call that ASL poetry. So acting is actually part of us. It's in our DNA. We all have that in our DNA. We all have that in our signs because we speak in the American Sign Language every day. So think about it. All these, these signs, these communication we got going on, we're already actors.
Right.
I cannot say anything else beyond that. We're already
Right.
actors. We are actors ourselves. I
Mhm.
mean,
Well, again, the spatial reasoning
yeah, the
that
thing
you guys have over us, it breeds creativity, right? Like,
Mhm.
no
that's
wonder
what I'm
you're so good
saying.
at so many
Yeah,
things.
that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
I mean, like,
Mhm.
come on. All these facial expressions we're doing, like we talk about, for example, we say something about, fireworks or, anything with something specific. We put that acting to it. We put all that acting into it. And guess what? You see a whole visual picture of everything going on when we sign it. You guys be like,
Mhm.
I understood that.
Right. You
Yeah.
feel it. You actually feel. Can you do an example, a demonstration for us where you're putting your facial expressions and your body into
Yeah,
it?
sure. Give me a simple sentence that I can, and I'll translate it for you.
If you just say, everyone needs to believe in themselves and then they can rise to new heights.
So, okay, so everyone need to believe in themselves and eyes for themselves.
I love that.
And you
Yeah, I
feel it,
felt
right? You're
that.
not
I
just, yeah.
felt that in a visceral way that I didn't just see it. It's very human. It's a beautiful part of the human experience that you're tapping into that hearing
Yeah.
individuals are
Yeah.
usually not tapping
Yeah.
into.
We don't have to. We're kind of lazy. I mean, we're privileged.
Yeah.
We know
Mhm.
this
Oh,
We're
in
lazy.
Nikki.
so many ways,
Oh, yeah. I see
and
Nikki
so we're
says.
lazy. We don't need
Yep,
to learn it. We don't need
Oh
to
that's
yeah,
develop
right.
it.
she's actually one of my students.
Oh,
Oh,
welcome.
Cedric's students are here. That's wonderful. Yeah,
I
the
did have
rise
one
was powerful.
question that I
The
wanted to get to
rise.
before we
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we're running out of time,
And then
but
just a couple more questions, guys. I know everyone wants to
yeah,
have questions.
I
Maybe
know.
about 2 or 3 more questions.
Okay. So my question that I wanted to make sure we covered was, what are ways that we as a network can be more inclusive of the deaf community? That was one of the
Um,
big
A
reasons we wanted
television
to bring
network.
you.
Like
Yeah.
in
How
television,
do
what can we
we?
be doing?
I mean,
all
we
right,
have the closed caption, but
right.
it seems
Closed caption
lazy.
is number one. Number two, find the right resources, find the right people. The right people once you get that. Number
Okay.
three, I would say start interviewing the people that that have that right resource, that right,
Yeah,
image.
toss us some names, Cedric.
I do got
Connect us.
I do got a couple people. I might
Okay.
have to join them, just and translate with them. I have one friend. I have one friend named Metellus. He's one of my best friends.
Mhm.
He's actually he does RBT with the with children's also. He's very good. He's a strong man. He's one of the deaf strongmans that I know, and he does pretty good things. Like I said,
Okay. Yeah, connect us. This is our first
yeah.
step in that direction. You're the first, Cedric,
Um,
so you're helping.
I may get you to talk with an interpreter that I know or an ASL teacher. I'm probably gonna start with Russo. Russo is one of my coworkers that I work with. She used to interpreter, but now she's working with me as an ASL teacher. She can give you some aspects of how deaf culture is and her experience with deaf community. I actually have another woman named Ebony Jackson. She's one of my closest
Okay,
friends.
I'm getting the feeling that we're gonna be booked,
This
or
is good.
Cedric's gonna have his
Thank
own
you.
show.
And like I said, I'm gonna be
Or-
here.
yeah.
I'm gonna be here with them all the way. I'm gonna be here with them all the way.
Thank
We
you.
know some producers. If you ever want your own show,
If you ever want your own show, we can produce that for you because
Yes, I
it
would.
is
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Okay.
I'm thinking about doing it because you trust me. I'm thinking about doing some interviews. You know, get
Yes.
everybody involved. So that's
I would love to
That
see
would be
somebody interviewing
amazing.
some deaf.
I
Like I
would love
said,
for
I
you to
if you
yeah.
asked me for famous people, I
yeah,
could maybe name
of
a
course,
handful
of
throughout
course.
history.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, and like I told you guys, I did a lot of different things. I got interviews from people that's out there famous
They're
too.
welcoming you to the family.
Everybody's welcoming you here. We do have a couple more questions.
All right, go ahead. What's the next one?
Somebody wants you to do ASL. The fireworks outside is
Fireworks.
amazing. Is
So
amazing.
fireworks is basically a part of explosion. So we do fire, explosion, fire,
Wait,
explosion. So everything is, think about it. It's like a bomb here. So
right.
fire, explosion.
And how do you say amazing? How do you say the fireworks
Amazing,
outside are amazing?
amazing.
Oh, it's like raising the roof almost.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's like
Raising
big.
the roof.
When you guys get those stickers on your paper when it says amazing back in elementary school? Think of
Mhm.
it like that with that big thing.
Okay.
Like a
Yeah.
stamp right there. Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. You're stamping it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Nice.
Brittany said, my hearing has gotten a lot better being partially blind. Has your sight improved with hyperfocus?
I'd never been blind. That's something that I never, thought
I
about.
think she's asking if your hearing loss makes your other senses more acute.
No, all my senses are fine except for my hearing loss. My hearing loss, I mean, there's nothing to do about it. I mean, I accept who I was. All my senses
Oh,
are
there's
good.
no shame, right? We're the ones that through
All
history
my
have made
all
it.
my senses are good. I always go to art doctor. They say I got 20/20. I mean, at least I'll be eating my carrots. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I've eaten my carrots.
So your vision, I think that's what she was also asking too. Like, is your vision better because your hearing is you have some hearing
Um,
loss?
I'm always been a visual person as I
Mhm.
was as a kid, so I don't think it was anything to do with my hearing loss. It's just that if I can't hear like 100% of everything, then I just have to keep look and see where we
Yeah.
at. It's just my vision is more better, so I don't think it affect me as a whole. I just think I actually trained myself to catch things. Like I said, we always watching our surroundings. So I
Right.
think it's just me being more paying attention than not paying
Mhm.
attention.
Right.
I was
Okay.
I was being more, paying attention.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
I see someone say I'm hard of hearing. My sense of smell is heightened and due to my hearing loss. Oh, yeah, I never had a problem with anything in my senses. I think everybody, like I said, everybody's different. So,
Yeah.
And I think it's if you like so you've been hard of hearing since birth, correct?
mhm.
Okay. So I think it's different if like when I lost my hearing in that ear, my other senses had to become a little bit better. Like I had to be better at looking and seeing in my peripheral vision and everything to be able to understand and function the way
Right,
I
right.
always had, you know?
Oh man, I mean, it just depends. I mean, if you're older and you lost your hearing loss, I think it's a little bit different than when you're born. So when
Yeah.
we're born, we're still learning. So I think that's what happened to me. I've been learning.
This is
So
just your life. This is your life. It's who you
yeah,
are.
yeah. So
It's what makes Cedric Cedric. Well, part of it.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Cedric, we are so grateful that you're here. Hopefully we will do some more work together in the
Oh yes,
future.
Yes.
That's
definitely.
what we want to do. Anything that we can do to support you. We are there. You have new fans from our community now who are going to follow you. What's the best way for people to follow you?
Yes. TikTok will be the best way. Like I said, I'm posting a lot of my stuff on TikTok.
Mhm.
So you guys can actually follow me on TikTok.
Okay.
And and you guys can message me there. I'm gonna have an open, like I said, I have an open QA box there, and and the journey continues.
All right. There you go. The journey continues. Thank you so much,
Excellent.
Cedric, for being here. And thank you,
Yeah, this was
everybody,
wonderful.
for tuning
Yeah,
in. And you guys will be seeing more of Cedric. We promise. We'll be
Yeah.
having a lot more of
definitely.
Cedric Thank
Definitely.
you, everybody. Have a good evening, everybody, and
Hi,
Uh,
guys.
we'll see you next time. Thank you, Cedric.
bye bye.